Hi, I'm Ray. I'm the lead developer of Team Treats. Tender Love and Cannibal is a completely new project. When the Love at First Bite project came tumbling down thanks to some abusive leaders, I packed up my shit and moved. With the help of two others, I reassembled the best team members I could, and the people still remaining built TLC from the rubble. All assets were redone. We had no code, no story, no funding, nothing. By now, we've been at it for about 6 months, and to say we've made a lot of progress in that time would be an understatement. Folks ages 16 and up have been spearheading this project since the beginning. The person who actually did the code, set up the itch page, did a substantial part of the writing, and communicated with Corey during the old project, that was me. I was appointed to the position of community manager because the old lead wouldn't get off their keister and do anything. I'm also one of the grooming victims from the previous project, as are many of my peers. Adults and minors alike were put in harm's way thanks to negligence on the part of the previous leads, but it's up to them to put out their own anecdotes on their own time. Rebuilding from the ground up was daunting, but with a bit of help and a lot of love from members both new and old, we're making something we can be truly proud of. Glad you asked. Here's the pitch for the game. This story follows YN, the player character who just moved into town. They're unaware anything is amiss until they're placed under scrutiny for the disappearances of local townsfolk. When they unwittingly attempt to woo a closeted killer who works at the local diner, the rabbit hole only grows deeper. What follows is a slippery slope of occult conspiracy and discovery. Who is behind the disappearances? Are the victims still alive? These questions and more will be answered if the player treads carefully and reads between the lines. Because this is a visual novel, the gameplay itself will be fairly simple. Point-and-click sequences will be present, as well as minigames and puzzles for added variety and story communication. This game is also separated into chapters and days. Each chapter takes place over the course of a week. There will be at least 5 days and occasionally include nights. It's not gonna be marketed towards young kids. I don't know what gave off that impression. Just because something is accessible to or rated at a certain level doesn't mean the game is being marketed towards that demographic. The game is marketed towards Spooky Month fans and will remain tonally faithful and appropriate for that demographic. The omission of sexual, heavily suggestive, or explicit content isn't just at the request of one person in particular. The entire team, adults and minors alike, have collectively agreed they do not want that direction for the game. This is because the whole team is uncomfortable with that content. The very foundation of the hiring process hinges on the fact that the game is rated T for teen. I've written the following warnings on the itch.io page for anyone who wishes to avoid materials that include the following: cannibalism, murder, violence, gore, jump scares, mentions of cults, loud noises, and flashing lights. The reason why it's labeled as 16+ is because the game is going to contain gore and horror elements, but not to a degree or level of detail that warrants an M rating. It's not the depictions of things like cannibalism or gore that make them not safe for work or inaccessible to certain audiences. It's the level of detail and severity with which they're depicted. If I showed a child this drawing of a stick figure chewing on someone's arm, that's pretty harmless, right? But if I whipped out a photorealistic still life of cannibalism in action, I'd very much, and well-deservedly, get my ass beat. The level of gore in Spooky Month just doesn't even approach the latter territory though, right? An implication of violence or gore where it's not visually shown serves a purpose without showing any scarring visuals to those who may be affected by it. That's the framework we're working with, by the way. Cartoonish gore and horror. Comic mischief. The imply don't tell principle of horror both can and has been executed everywhere, even in Spooky Month, without displaying explicit material. For example, the only factors of Straber's potential death that are outright shown on screen are the following: Bob holding a cartoon bone that's been picked clean, without any residual blood or flesh shown. Skin and pump stepping in blood, a close-up of Strieber's trembling eye, implying that he's still alive and in pain. The viewer's imagination can fill in the rest. Rating systems in games function based on criteria just like this. In truth, I do personally agree that violence and horror should be kept from the eyes of the young bucks out there, but barring teens from watching cartoonish violence, implied and off-screen character death, cheap jump scares, campy romance tropes, that's a bit much. My game just isn't 18 plus, sorry. I'm not changing the rating. Yes, an adult YN is pursuing an adult character. The rating of the game has nothing to do with marketing towards people who are 16 plus, and we're definitely not encouraging minors to go date adults. Just as an example, we can apply these ratings to fanfiction and other written media. There are X-Reader fanfictions that are for general audiences, or rated T for teen. We all know and understand those ratings are referring to the contents of the fanfiction. It's also understood that the reader insert is an adult when paired with an adult character. It should be noted that with the 16 plus rating, we can't prevent minors from playing our game. Like all other game developers, we've got to trust that people will self-moderate. Flagrant mischaracterization of what? 4 minutes and 26 seconds of meat facts and heavy breathing? The base character hasn't even been fully developed, let alone shown off enough for anyone to make this point. Most of the lore here is based on the show, ARG, or headcanons directly from the voice actors themselves. Just to clarify, the being forced to thing applies only to being forced into being violent towards someone he cares about. You know, due to a third party. He's not being forced to romance you. That would be weird. Oh, well, then it's a good thing that this is a video game, and our protagonist is an adult who's just moved away from their hometown. A piece of media depicting something that kids can't do doesn't immediately make that piece of media inappropriate for younger viewers. A prominent example of this is a Disney film. Pirates of the Caribbean features violence, sexual innuendos, direct reference to and consumption of alcohol. Does that mean it's implying that kids can or should become violent alcoholic pirates? No! Of course not. That's silly. In the end, it's always up to the discretion of the viewer to decide whether or not those things suit their sensibilities. Misconceptions about the actual contents of the game are definitely my responsibility. I apologize. I was facing hospitalization at the time of writing the original post, which even then is only partially to blame for it being rushed and bad. So I'm gonna work some awesome clarification magic. Are you ready? No! I've made a point to not reveal much of anything about the game's narrative to people outside of my team, my super close circle, or the voice actors I'm hiring to participate in the thing to begin with. I've already explained and elaborated on the plot of this thing as much as I'm comfortable with. It's a lighthearted horror comedy dating sim with no sexual or explicit material. Our aim is to create a game with an enjoyable narrative, one without a deficit of excitement or material that can be engaged with. I'm not gonna try and promise that everyone will like it, but some will. An assumption like this of the contents of the project says nothing about the final result. The demo isn't out yet, so this point is a presumption of what you think we're creating. I'd like to start this section off by reiterating one thing. Our game isn't about stuff like that. It's a dating sim that tells a story. In a story, problematic, please see, not illegal, material can be shown or even joked about, on a few conditions. One of the most important of these conditions is this. If you're showing off a taboo topic, it can't be taken as a joke by the characters within the story. If there's a disconnect between the severity of what's being shown and how the characters respond, it's telling. Therein lies room for error in handling taboo topics, and therein lies the possibility for the romanticization of certain things. I don't know why I have to say this, but there are some things that just shouldn't be posted about or accessible in a collaborative environment, regardless of the age of individuals present. The opinions that you have on whether people should be able to pursue problematic content and when are complete non sequiturs when the issue is overall etiquette and good conduct when doing a group project. The comfort of the people you're working with holds priority over your personal convictions about discourse. If I make the choice to remove someone from my project, it's a decision based on what's good for the majority. If person A posts something or makes something that's easily accessible by everyone else, and person B or multiple people are uncomfortable with that, then person A needs to be warned or dealt with. It's as simple as that. If you're going to volunteer for something, you ought to at least be decent, professional, and respectful to the people around you. This is more of a footnote for the folks on the team or folks who wish to join. If you need clarification, the best thing you can do is come to me directly. There have been errors with miscommunication in the past, and I'm gonna try to fix that by being more involved in the moderation side of things. Woo! Holy shit! This whole response has been leading up to this one segment. Actually, hold on. Let me phone a friend.
We've sought counsel from multiple practicing legal consultants, litigation specialists, and college educators with a combined 50-plus years of experience practicing business law, cyber law, and civil law.
Due to the unlawfulness and unethical nature of their removal, minors can't be eliminated from the team against their will. The adults were hired and contracted by me, as opposed to vice versa. So development will continue as normal. However, before being an audience, you all are people. If you want to block me, not play the game, or refund donations, you as the consumer can decide what you want or don't want to do. It's my team and I's passion project. You can choose whether you'd like to support us or not. At the end of the day, these are just characters and a story we're creating with them. All I can ask is that if you have a question or a piece of criticism, just tell me or another lead so we can actually converse about it. On your Safe for Work accounts, because you silly gooses quote retweeting on your porn accounts really don't make it easy to have a conversation. My friends and teammates having to endure panic attacks or feelings of shame got old after the first time it happened. So, if you have a question, comment, or concern, just ask. We don't bite. And I don't have a transition out of this video. Okay, bye.